Good evening, everyone. Uh, Kumar, yes, the government has taken the decision to reopen the college on first, but it all depends further whether the circumstances makes the things to get opened or not. But the thing is, once the government has taken the decision, it has been long time since the decision has been made. I don't think any change will be there in the decision. Most probably they will open the college by first, and maybe by end of the February or in the mid of the February you will have your exams. So shall we start our class now? It's 4:1, and let's see. I'm closing the chat box. If you have any query, please put it in through voice. So we have seen this font family, and now uh, background we have seen. And for font family also we have seen this particular slide, and now we are looking into this particular slide. Beginning from here, font style will speak what type of font you want, what nature of font should be there. Font family will tell what type of style is to be applied. Okay, what type of the font look and feel to be applied. But within that look and feel, whether it is Times New Roman or Arial or any type of font family, how should that font to appear? Should it appear in a normal style, or should it appear in italics style, or should it appear in oblique or slant uh, style, or should it appear in bold style? That particular effect will be defined in font style. So, for example, for the header tag, I want to apply a font family of Arial nature, or if Arial is not present in the client machine, you can adapt to Verdana, and uh, the nature should be, it should have sans serif, means it should not have any footing effects. Okay. Now for H2, H2, header tag 2, heading tags 2 type, I'm having a font family of Times New Roman. I'm specifically telling that it should be serif, and the style, font style should be italic in nature. Now there is one more called as font variant. Font variant means, should the font be as a normal font, whatever you type, or should it come in small caps? Means uh, whatever new word starts up, whenever a separate word starts, it should be capitalized as the first letter. So we have got normal and small caps. We have got one more thing called as font weight. I'm sorry, I said here that we will have in font style the bold, but it is coming in font weight. In font style, you have just two things: normal, italic, or oblique. Normal and italics or oblique. And in font weight, you are having normal and bold. So the same thing we are applying here for the paragraph. Instead of heading tags, we are applying for a paragraph tag. Font family, I'm telling you, either take Arial or Verdana, and it should be sans serif. And for the, what is this TD table data? It was representing the values inside the cells of the table, right? Within the cells, the font family should be Arial or Verdana, and it should be sans serif, and the font weight should be bold. Okay. Similarly, we have got one more type of property for font, that is font size. This font size can be expressed in terms of pixels or in terms of percentages. Usually we'll say font to be of 10 size, 11 size, 12 size. 12 is usually a common for our letters and so forth. 14 for headings and 16 for main heading of the page, something like that. Whenever we try to have a documentation, we'll say normal font size as 10 for printing, like that. So what should be this size? We have to mention it in terms of pixels and percentages. We can have 30 pixels or 12 points. The 10, 11, 12 that I was speaking about is PT over here. This is optional. If you wish, you can write, or else you can skip it off also. It is always preferable to write it. So percentages, and there is one more, embossment. This embossment is very similar to that of pixels. It will give a depth look and feel. Okay. Now text indent. Text indent property is going to give some indentation effect from the left margin. You can see that this text and this T in the text and T in the are a little apart from one after the other, one below the other. There is some indentation effect here. If you want to introduce an indentation effect, then you have to use a property called as text hyphen indent. Similarly, if you want to align a text to the right or left or something like that, we have seen in the HTML there was an attribute called as align. Here that property name is text hyphen align, one single word, text hyphen align. We can mention whether to align it to center, right, or we can even mention left, or we can even mention justify. Justify means it will be aligned on both the sides. Then we can have what should be the letter spacing. Should we have huge gap between the letters or small gap between the letters, 6 pixels wide or 3 pixels wide? How much gap should be there? Then text decoration. Text decoration in the sense, do you want the text to be underlined? Like for example, you are having the links, right? Hyperlinks. Those hyperlinks were underlined, right? And they were having certain color with them. Or should the text be overlined, that means crossed up, or should it be line through? Overline is a line above that one, and line through is the cross cutting off. Okay. Then text transformation. How the text should be transformed? Should it be made as capitalized, or should it be uppercase, or should it be lowercase, or in it caps, or none? Okay. So these are the various properties of font. Now, for links, hyperlinks, what should be the properties? Before we go for hyperlinks properties, let us understand what is pseudo class. Pseudo class, earlier what happened is, whenever we wanted to apply a particular style, CSS style to a particular tag, we mentioned the tag and we have mentioned the property and its value within the curly braces. But suppose I don't want for all the occurrences of H1 this particular property to be applied. I want a specific condition in this H1 to be satisfied. Only when that condition is satisfied, then this property should be applied. For example, in the links, if the link is visited link, then I want the color to change as red color. Okay. But if the link is unvisited, normal link, then the color should be as blue color, which is by default. But if I mention the color as black, it will become black color and it will mix within the same passage. Okay. I can even interchange them. The normal link, which is not visited, will appear in red color if I mention red instead of blue. If I mention it as yellow, the link will appear in the yellow color. And once you click it, based on the property value that you have specified here, red, it will get converted into red color. Okay. So this conditional checking for a particular tag is called as pseudo class. Whenever we define this particular tag with so and so property and within the tag we are applying a condition, then that particular class which we have defined is called as pseudo class. Actually, actually speaking, I did not wanted to say it because I don't wanted to threaten you or frighten you. Here we are defining a class. Just like in your C++, here also we have classes concept. Many will get afraid of that one, but believe me, it is not very difficult. It is very easy, very easy. Simple name of the class, then in the Angular brackets, sorry, curly braces, you just need to mention the property and its value. Same thing over here. You need to mention the class name along with the class, what should be the condition which should get satisfied for what we want that particular color to be applied or some property to be applied, we need to mention here. So when we mention the tag as well as its condition or event, then that particular class is called as pseudo class. So a pseudo class allows you to take into account different conditions or events when defining a property for an HTML tag. Okay. So we have mentioned different color styles for the link, which is unvisited link, and for visited link, we have mentioned different color styles. And for currently currently accessed links, which was in orange color by default, we have kept a different color. Similarly, we have got one more property for the links called as hover. Hover is usually spelled as hover. H will be little silent here. So hover means when you keep a cursor over the link, that link's color will get changed based on the properties that we are mentioning here. Okay. I have kept one sample here for how to have the hovering. Whenever the cursor is brought on top of that particular link, the link will have enhancement in its letter spacing. From 6, it will become to 10 pixels wide. Font will become from normal to bold, and its color will become from normal blue color to red color. Okay. We can have any type of background. We can do a lot of things in that one. So this is just for your practice. I have kept all these different things. Next very important concept that is there in CSS is how do you identify which element is to be applied the style with, which element should not be applied with this style. For that reason, you will use a special attribute to the tag called as ID. This special attribute ID is given for each and every HTML tag in order to identify that specific HTML tag. What do I mean is, suppose in a document there are 6 paragraphs. So to have the 6 paragraphs, I will have 6 different paragraph tags listed up P, so on. Now, for the first one, I want to have a different color for the text. For the second one, I want to have a different color for the text. For the third one, I want to have a different color for the text. But if I normally go through and apply the P and then curly brace and then I will mention color colon red, that color colon red property and value will be applied for all the P's that are appearing in the HTML document. But my target was for the first paragraph tag, there should be a different color. For the second, it should be a different color. For the third, it should be a different color. Now, how do I distinguish within the same P tags now? Okay, getting my point? I hope there is a program. Okay. Let us try with one example program, then it will be very easy for us to understand. Because this concept, I cannot just leave it by PPT. Just put it aside. Let us have our program. So but we have to include the CSS also, right? So let me have CSS enclosed first in style tag, style type equal to text slash CSS, and then closing of this style, opening it further, just have some information. Okay. Now, within this, I want to have a paragraph, and for this paragraph, I wanted to apply a particular style. That style was color should be equal to red. I did not close it with the semicolon. Okay. Now I'm closing off this style. So this head section is over. Now within the body, I'll have one paragraph tag for defining a paragraph. This is sample paragraph. I'll just repeat it 2-3 times, some number of times, and then close off the paragraph tag. Okay. Now similarly, I'll take one more paragraph. So I want for the first paragraph a different color to be applied, and for the second paragraph a different color to be applied. But what will happen? Let's see here. I'm closing the body and I am closing the HTML. Okay. Now what's this file? Saved with page one. Okay. Whatever may be the name. Let's not worry about it. Let's get back to the directory. Try to open it with Explorer. I think it's already opened here. Let's refresh it out. You can see that there are two paragraphs coming up and all became in red color. All the paragraphs are appearing in red color. Are you able to see this particular screen? Program as well as that particular output?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So what we did actually was we wanted to apply a color of red color to the paragraph tags. So wherever P paragraph tag is appearing, for all those occurrences, the paragraph will change to red color. But should it be the case? No. So I want to give a different color for this one, and I want to give a different color for this paragraph. So I have to identify what is this P. I have to identify what is this P. For that reason, we'll have here id equal to something A, let us say, or let us say ABC. Here I'll say this is identified as XYZ, some labeling. Okay. Now instead of defining the style for the P itself, I'll define it for ABC. So since it is identifier, I have to use a hash symbol here. Hash ABC, I want to have it in a red color. Just copy that one. And for XYZ, I want to have it in blue color. Let us see whether this blue will work or not. Okay, let's try with this one now. Let's see what will be the output. Can you see, even though we were trying to have this paragraphs with the help of P, it was giving the same color. Now with the help of identifier, we are able to specify specifically what color should be applied for what particular type of paragraph. Not just, let us imagine I have kept here one heading tag, let us say H1, and just writing here heading blah, 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 and then closing off this H1. Now, if I simply save this one, how it will appear is with the normal style heading. But here, I'll get a choice whether to identify it with that of ABC or XYZ. Let us try with this one. ABC. Let's see what will happen. Can you just check that both came in red color, because ABC color we have applied as red here, right? But this is absolutely nonsense, and it's a big mistake which every developer does. They should not have identifiers with same name for different tags. Even for multiple tags of same category, there should not be any identifier of the same name for any other tag. Once you have utilized ABC for P, one of the tags, you should not use it for any other tag. Even for this P also, you should not use it again. Okay, though it works, but it is one of the common mistakes that's done by a particular group of web developers. For that reason, the CSS, to eliminate that confusion, has got up with a concept called as class. Yes, again the word class is coming and it will make another confusion for you, but don't worry, it's still easy. It's still easy. Don't get confused with that. So I hope this particular slide is easy enough to be understood through the program that we have done. So I'm not going for this particular slide again. So now, if I want to group a set of tags with the same name, with the same identifier name, instead of ID, I will use a separate attribute called as class. Use a separate attribute called as class. And for a bunch of tags, I will apply a common settings using the class. This is the common part. Now for the class, how will you define it? It's a small thing that we have to learn. Okay? Damn easy. It's very easy. Very easy. So let's get back to the program. Let me open the output window also. Let me enhance this program. Now, when it was an identifier, we were able to identify each tag with a specific name, right? Now, I will not use ID over here. I will use a class. Right? For a class, you can have the same name. Okay. But here, the problem is a class is associated always with a particular tag. A class is associated always with a particular tag. Let me show you why I'm telling like that. For a class, you will not use hash, you will use a dot symbol. What you will use? You will use a dot symbol. Let me see this particular file. There is no other change that I did. Instead of ID, I wrote the keyword as class. Instead of hash, I wrote it as dot. Let me refresh it out. Is there any application? This is coming as a black line. Why? Because it was ID and there is no ID defined here. Both are classes. just a small thing that I have to do over here. Make it as also class. Let's refresh it out. Can you see the same effect has been introduced here? Okay. Now, just give it 2 minutes. Boys and girls, I'm really sorry. Today I'm having a lot of disturbances in between your class. So, anyway, what I want to just confirm whether my voice is still audible to you people or not, and the screen is visible or not.
Audible, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much. I'm really sorry for having so many disturbances in between your class. So, what we are discussing here is if I want to bunch together two or more tags, then I can club them together to apply same styling using a class attribute. Whereas ID attribute was having the same impact, but its main purpose was to have a identification to a specific tag. Okay, clear now. So what is the class and what is the identifier ID? Simple, it's very simple. Both are attributes. ID is also attribute, class is also attribute. Whatever name you are giving to the class, the same name you have to use as the selector. That's why I said earlier in the starting of this CSS that the selector is usually a HTML tag, but later on, as we go in depth, I said it will be changing into class or identifier. At that time, I did not spell it class or identifier just to keep it simple. Now I'm telling it clearly that it may be a class or it may be a identifier. Now, one more thing. Over here, let us say I have two paragraph tags here, right? For these two paragraphs tags, I have got one as class ABC and another is class XYZ. And here I have got ABC for H also, H1 also. But suppose if I write P here, let's try to execute this one. P.ABC and P.XYZ. Let's experiment out.